What we have here today at the Dothan Opera House, we have two performances today as part of Blues in Schools. And what this is a partnership between Troy University and the Wiregrass Blues Society to kind of introduce blues music to young school children. We've got about 400 kids from local Dothan schools gathered at the Opera House here they started at 10:30 this morning, and they'll have another show at 1. And basically, we've got a world-renowned blues artist, Vanessa Collier. She's in her 20s, and she's performed all over the world, been nominated for a number of awards. She's got her band here, and she's kind of playing a variety of different music styles for these kids and trying to foster a love of music in young elementary school kids.
The gentleman I've worked with, unfortunately passed away. Worked with him very closely. I've got to know him for years. He worked with us on the ALS committee where we did the two Dothan Music Fests, and each year we gave, after expenses, we gave $40,000 each year to the ALS, and that was Jimmy Dean. Jimmy was one of the members of the James family. Jimmy is a commercial artist. I know did work for Larry Williams, who is here, and a lot of other people, but Jimmy also played bass for many years with Mr. B.J. Thomas. And right now I'd like to introduce his brother, a gentleman that we come to know through the years. In fact, one of the most memorable times I had was when James Gang had a reunion picnic in his backyard a few years ago. I didn't realize it was 2004, but it was like a who's who of Dothan bands in Robert Dean's backyard. I'd like to introduce the brother of Jimmy Dean, Robert Dean.
Thank you very much, Gil. I'd like to give a very heartfelt thanks to the Wiregrass Blues Society, to Gil and Bruce, for honoring my brother. I'm surely looking forward to the event on April 22nd, I believe it is, right across the street, 21st on Saturday, and we'll have some memorabilia down there from Jimmy, along with a lot of Mike's displays. And look forward to seeing y'all and maybe a lot of the other old Dothan musicians that will show up and participate and spark some memories. Y'all come see us. Thank you very much.
Robert. I'd like to introduce our main honoree, and this was really a no-brainer for me, coming up with Jimmy's name and also coming in with this gentleman who I've gotten to know through the last few years, in fact. And he was really synonymous with Atlanta Rhythm Section. In fact, Buddy and Gloria Bowie said they considered him the sixth member of Atlanta Rhythm Section. He did all the Atlanta Rhythm Section covers, I think 12 or 13 of them. But he was the go-to man back in the 70s. And I guess where I first learned about him was from Paul. He did the logo on your roof, didn't he, for Grandpa's Attic way back when. And then I started researching this guy and come to find out he has done over 200 album covers. Remember when you used to buy albums? An album cover would grab your eye, grab your attention. Well, this gentleman is responsible for everybody from Isaac Hayes, William Bell, James Brown, Louis Grizzard. He is not only responsible for over 200 album covers, but also did things like design T-shirt for Jimmy Carter's campaign, designed T-shirt for Willie Nelson's picnic that he had, and he's still very active down in the Panhandle of Florida, down in the Santa Rosa area with art, and a very renowned guy. And he was really one of the go-to guys throughout the 70s. And I know his career has spanned 5 decades. And I'd like to introduce this year's honoree, Mr. Mike McCarty.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure being here. It's like a homecoming for me, back to my hometown. And I would like to give a lot of credit to Buddy Bowie for giving me the opportunity to get started. And he opened the door with me doing work for Atlanta Rhythm Section. And one thing led to another. We got involved with the Grammy Awards and made a lot of contacts throughout the years, but there's nothing like being honored in your own hometown, and I thank you very much and hope to see you all at the Blues Fest this year. Thanks so much.
Venture into the Blues in the Schools program, and I can't tell you how wonderful it is. I am a teacher 3 days a week. I teach private saxophone lessons, and I see how much just a little bit, a half-hour lesson of music does for a kid every day, you know? And so that's what this Blues in the Schools program is amazing, because it's not only teaching us about the roots of all of American music, that, you know, anything from rock and roll to anything that you hear on the radio now, it all has roots here, and it was all made here. And, you know, it's got a huge tradition, but also carrying that forward and bringing joy into our lives when we're so caught up in social media and keeping up with everybody else, that it teaches kids to connect with emotions. And that's one of the biggest things that I teach, is you got to connect with what's going on in your life and carry that forward and be kind and be passionate. That's one of the things I touched on today, was you just have to find what you do and do it no matter what and stay on the path. And that's what this Blues in the Schools program does. It gives kids an outlet of, I can feel something and I can play it and I can convey that in music. And hopefully, with your support, this is going to keep on going, because to me, it's the greatest joy to see that inspiration in the kid. So thank you.
And that's all the arts, whether it's theater, drawing, painting, or music. But just think, our 5th graders get the opportunity maybe to hear something they've never heard before. And you never know that one performance that can change a child's life. And I think that's what we're doing today. I want to thank Scott. He's given his life to this community and education. He's in central office. He's doing a great job. And I'm grateful because this time she called me like with 30 seconds to go. Can we do this? And I said, well, I don't know how flexible school systems are, but Scott made it happen. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. And I want to thank Gil. You know, one of the best events we've ever had was the songwriters. What we call it?
ALS fundraiser.
Yeah, the ALS fundraiser at the Civic Center. And these songwriters who have written some of the greatest hits our country's ever had, and still are hits. So, Gil, you are an awesome, awesome asset. So thank you. And Scott, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Scott Falk, Director of Student Support Services for Dothan City Schools. Mr. Chairman, I cannot take all the credit. Teresa Davis, who's one of our directors, she really made all of this happen. She really worked to make sure that students were involved in music. We already know how Alabama played a forefront in blues, but I don't think some of our students and our citizens here in the city of Dothan know that the city of Dothan played a big part in blues. Dothan was one of the cities that was on the world famous Chittenden Circuit. We used to have what was called the Capri Club, and we had Nat King Cole, B.B. King, Ike and Tina Turner come down, and all of these great musicians have been here. And also you're looking at someone who has who has taken advantage of music in schools. And I took it from middle school to high school, and even got me into college. So I am grateful for the arts. I am a strong supporter. I'm grateful for the scholarships that you all are raising and the instruments that you're donating to our schools. And it's a whole new world for our students when they get to learn about music and the different language it can incorporate, and the math and the science, as I heard someone say, all of the core subjects. You can use music as a correlation to getting students to understand those subjects. That's what I use, even in today's time when I'm working with Central Office.
Blues Society, and of course we are getting ready for another Wiregrass Blues Fest. I believe this is our 7th one. And first of all, I want to thank you all for coming, and we'll acknowledge a lot of people. First of all, I'd like to introduce the president of the Wiregrass Blues Society, Mr. Bruce Adams.
Thank you, that's quite kind. I want to just thank you for being here. As Gil said, this is our 7th year that the Wiregrass Blues Society has been associated with the Blues Fest, and we look forward to it each year, presenting some good entertainment. And we thank you for being here to help us spread the word. And that's all I really want to tell you. They're going to tell you more about it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bruce Adams, who's the president. Right now, I'd like to introduce the chairperson for the 2018 Wiregrass Blues Fest, and also responsible for getting a lot of sponsorship, Mr. Terry Duffy.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody that's here today. There's many people that we'd like to thank, but one of the people that we would really, really like to thank, of course, is our Mayor, Mark Saliba. Mark was here a little bit earlier. I know he had another engagement, and I'd like to get Mike Spence up here. Mayor Mike Spence, I'll call him mayor forever, but chair of the school board. He was so nice to get the Dothan City Schools in today for a Blues in School that we had at 10:30 this morning, and we'll have another one at 1 o'clock. We've moved these around to different schools, trying to expose children to things that they normally would not be exposed to, one being music and blues music. Mike has been a sponsor, dedicated to helping us with our event. The event that we're kicking off today is, of course, the Blues Festival that will be held this year, again, at the Wiregrass Museum of Art. That will be April 2021. Mike McCarty's got a great display. I'm not going to go into that because you're going to hear from Mike a little bit later. Other sponsors that I would really like to thank, Joey Pilcher. Joey's in the back, and Bruce McNeil. We want to thank them. They've been great supporters with Pilcher Ambulance Service, not only providing safety, but actually contributing. Bob Woodall, Louisville Supply, Carpet Land, Windmill Station, Jim Martin, and all the guys over at Martin Environmental, Adams Beverage, the Clarion Inn, Scenic Production, Trinity Bank, and of course Mike Spence Automotive and A&D Automotive, Van and Dina Valquez. We thank all of those. We could not do this without them. The Blues in Schools today, a special big applause I'd like to ask. You'll hear from Dr. Jeffrey, I'm sure, from Troy University. Can we give them a big round of applause? They are such a supporter of the arts, and Dr. James Brooks, who works very, very hard to put all this together. We thank you for being out today, and hope you'll spread the word. Tickets go on sale today on Eventbrite, and the tickets are like $20, $25, which is really a great deal considering all the entertainment that you get. And but we're doing a special thing. We're going to have them at $10 a piece on Eventbrite, a very small amount. So go to the Wiregrass Blues Society page and get to Eventbrite and get you some $10 tickets, and also there will be some available at Scenic Productions come Monday if you want to get in on that, and we'd love for you. What do we do with that money? We have started a scholarship fund for people that study music, and in addition to that, the goal is to start buying $5,000 worth of band instruments a year for 7th grade.